little bit lower. Yep. Good.
So it's Pig Week coming up in the end of November, beginning of December. It takes place in Fort Lauderdale. I have a room in a hotel that's one of the host hotels for it. I could always use a roommate, at least to help with the expenses. So if it's something that you're interested in doing, or you're planning on going anyway, and you need a place to stay, you should hit me up. This is great if you're a pig because it's Pig Week. I imagine it's going to be quite piggy. Anyway, yeah, drop me a post off this and we'll discuss. And yeah, there you go. So happy Friday. Oink.
Sadly come to the realization that I'm just not going to be able to go to Pig Week this year at the end of November because I can't afford it, because I am so completely broke. I'm kind of bummed out about this and a little freaked out. I don't like being this broke. Yeah. It just proves to me that I actually get to have to work 60 plus hours a week to survive living on Capitol Hill in a house. Awesome. I'm not amused. I really don't want to look for a second job. Ugh. No. Please. No. Somebody just give me money. Please just give me some money. It would be nice. I deserve it. I'm a good person. Seriously.
So I just found out that this event I'm going to at the end of November, beginning of December, called Pig Week in Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, well, I just found out that there is a contest for Mr. Pig International. It comes with a sash and a bouquet of dildos. I am going to win this. Probably not, but I would really like to. Anyway, also, I don't know if any of you guys are planning on going, but I need a roommate for the hotel because I really would like to not have to pay for the entire thing by myself. And even if you're only there for half of it, that would be awesome. Just hit me up and let me know if you want to go, because that would be great. Okay, cheers.
Well, now is about the time when my excitement for doing something different is turning into anxiety and nervousness and anxiousness. Always a great time. And of course, this is going to be happening and getting worse and worse for the next 27 days, 26 days, until I actually end up in Fort Lauderdale. So I'm probably going to be stressing out about it the whole time. I am looking forward to Pig Week as much as I am terrified of it. While I do consider myself to be somewhat piggish, I feel like I'm way out of my comfort zone in this situation. So, we'll see what happens. Anyway, I just thought I'd share. Have a good night. Talk to you.
I only bought my plane ticket to Pig Week at the end of the month, and I guess I'm really going. Kind of excited about it. So I went on the Pig Week group page on Facebook just to throw a message out there that I'm still looking for a roommate for my hotel room while I'm there, because I would prefer to not spend all my money paying for a hotel by myself. And the first thing I see are these hot, ripped, huge guys that are just like stacked. And I'm looking at them, and the first thing I think of is like, do I even have a chance to play with somebody like that? Or are those guys literally only going to play with other guys that look like that? And so, of course, my insecurity kicked in, and now I'm feeling all shitty self-esteem and bleh.
I have a question. Hopefully somebody or at least hopefully most of you, can answer. It's kind of important. It's an interesting... It's just kind of... I guess I need to know this before I do this event. So I'm going on this event called Pig Week. Some of you have probably heard about it. Anyway, it just has got me wondering, what does one do as a pig? I mean, I know what I do, but I mean, what do you define as piggish behavior? Is it rude? Are you still polite to people? Or is it just sort of like, get out of my way, it's mine? I don't know. Anybody want to give any advice to me, that would be great, because I kind of want to know what I'm walking into with at least an idea of how to behave properly. It's kind of the point now where I'm thinking to myself, I should just get off the Pig Week group page on Facebook, because I know just looking at it from this point forward is going to be just stressful and make me more and more anxious. Yeah, maybe that would be a good idea. Of course, there might be information I need. I don't know. It's a conundrum, but my back still hurts. I got this thing, no waistband. And you still need to stretch before you try to suck your own dick. You really do. Otherwise, your back's gonna hurt, much like mine. Final note, I'm still not sure if there's anybody else from Seattle going. I kind of don't know if that's going to be good for me or bad for me, but if anybody on here knows of somebody that's going, or indeed is going and from Seattle, could you let me know? So, that way, just, I know that I can find somebody that looks familiar, maybe, if necessary. I'm not saying I'm going to cling on to you. It's just like, sometimes it's just good to have a familiar face around. Of course, hopefully I don't see a lot of faces because I'm too busy with my face being like pushed in a pillow or something like that. But that's hopeful thinking, because I don't look shredded and massive. But I can hold my legs over my head for a really long time. It's true. Tops don't have to do it. So I've been thinking about it, and I'm trying to figure out what exactly will I be consuming while I am at this Pig Week in Fort Lauderdale. I'm thinking a lot about it, as you can tell, because I keep on talking about it. So I think my diet's basically going to consist of Cliff Bars, Ensure, smoothies, and water. Do we really need anything else? Probably not. Can I go 10 days without actually consuming real food? Probably not. But yay team me if I can, right? Woohoo, makes it just so much easier to deal with. Well, at least that's off my things to worry about list. I can check that one on the kill, so I figure I'll just keep on recording things. So I leave for Pig Week in 2 days, on Thursday night, and I haven't even pulled my suitcase out. I might want to do that soon, because there's a lot of things that I'm going to have to bring that I don't normally pack with me. So, yikes. Still completely nervous about it. I am literally nervous and anxious about it every day, all day long, since like last week. I also can't stop thinking about it, so hopefully, I just hope it's fun, and I hope I don't find myself just kind of sitting on the sidelines feeling like I'm not partaking or not being invited. You know, the whole reindeer game thing? Yeah, well, that. Those of you that know me know how much I hate flying, and I'm going to be flying now. So, if I die, I love you all, except for those of you who I don't, in which case y'all can fuck off. Yeah, so I really hate flying. Luckily, I'll be completely doped up and hopefully won't remember much of any of it at all. Anyway, Florida, here I come.
I really hate airports. People walk into an airport and act as if they've never been to an airport before. They're all basically the same thing. Driving me fucking crazy. It's like they're wandering around like they have no idea what to do or how to get where they need to go. They can't read signs, so it's like their brains have been shut off. Oh well. At least I'm at my gate, so now I just wait.
Didn't die, and I am now in Florida at the airport waiting to pick up my luggage. Flight was pretty uneventful. I am curious to know, though, with the humidity and the heat, whether these curls are going to remain curls or if they're going to start drooping really sadly. We'll find out. Anyway, I'm going to go get my luggage and go to the hotel. I'm really high right now, but not as bad as I've been in the past. My cocktail's not working like it used to, so I'm going to have to figure something out. Anyway, see y'all later. This was waiting for me. I've never had that waiting for me before. As a matter of fact, when I walked into the front entrance of the hotel, they knew exactly who I was before I even had a word to say. I'm impressed. The shower is also very exciting because it's a stand-up shower, which means I can take care of business in the shower instead of having to use a bathtub and a toilet. Daddy's happy. There's a refrigerator, toaster, iron, hairdryer, nice big bed, a view of the ocean. I'm good with this. It should be fun. So let the good times begin. But first, I'm going to take a nap because I'm exhausted. For an addendum to all of this, I have a view of the public pool, and then right behind my bed I have a view of the clothing optional pool. That's exciting. We'll see what happens, but it's eye candy, right? Yeah, anyway, just thought I'd share that. Yay. You know, I gotta say, for amenities, including a ceiling fan, I haven't used a ceiling fan since, I lived in New Orleans. The shower, the shower head has clearly been stripped down numerous times already. So that made that really easy. And the drain cover was 2 screws that clearly have been unscrewed and screwed in numerous times. So that was easy to remove. Yeah, this place is perfect. Now I just need to get some boys in here and start having some fun. But, you know, it's gonna take some time. I brought Sharpies. You never know how many. So I had an interesting experience today. This guy came up to my door at the hotel and knocked on it. My windows are open, so you probably saw me inside here. And wanted to fuck. So I'm like, okay. And I'm pretty much naked already, ready to go. So we ended up fucking. Huge uncut dick. I mean, just massive. But anyway, he looked familiar. I didn't know where I knew him from, but he had an A tattooed on his chest, like right there. And so I was telling my friend about him, my ex, afterwards, and he's like the most popular porn star in right now, and blah 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 blah. I'm like, oh, okay. Of hanging out here and getting to know my next door neighbor that I was talking about earlier.
His name's Alex. He's a really sweet guy. We actually spent a lot of time hanging out and just talking all sorts of stuff. He's kind of helping me, I think, with my profile platform, kind of helping me with my Twitter, and kind of helping me try to figure out how to do a Just for Fans page, because he's already done this, so he's familiar with it. So he's kind of sort of like my guru, Mr. Miyagi right now. So that's kind of awesome. We also just kind of connect, which is kind of cool, because I'm pretty laid back and he's pretty laid back. So also, I just want to make clear that while I had mentioned that he was an escort, and how I find it oddly weird and frustrating and irritating that I find myself oftentimes hooking up with guys who are escorts, I am not judging them in any way, shape, or form. Matter of fact, I commend them. It's not an easy life. I have tried. I still try, but it's not easy. And I don't have the energy really to do it as much as some of these guys are able to. And, it's not a financially stable career, especially at my age. So, if anything, I was just really just pointing it out. So, I'm in Florida, and I am doing what I normally do, which is be naked in my room, and well, the blinds are up, so anybody walking by can see what's going on, which is me lying on bed playing video games. Really exciting. Anyway, the door, there's a knock at it. I'm like, it's 1:30. So I go answer the door, and it's this guy just standing there. I'm like, yes, and I'm assuming he wants to play, because I kind of made a comment on my scruff about how my door's unlocked to just come on in, because he tried to get in. But anyway, he's like, I'm kind of drunk, and I'm looking at him a little bit longer, and he goes, actually, I'm really drunk. And I was like, well, how about we wait until tomorrow? And he goes, yeah, that's a good idea. How polite and considerate of him. Every time I look, it just gets better. They're much more circular and even. Anyway, I just ended up coming back from a party at the In Leather, which apparently is a hotel or motel. I don't know what it is. And anyway, I think I'm getting bruises on my thighs from the slings. Sling bruises. There's something I don't think most people complain about often. Would that be chalked up there with like a first world problem? I don't know. It's been a lot of fun though. I'm making lots of friends in the old-fashioned kind of way. Anyway, I'm gonna go find something easy to eat and digest and poop out. And I'm at the In Leather, which I reserved a room for next year. Woo! Anyway, I just popped my drinking piss cherry. Man, it's okay. It was weird. Didn't really give me much anything, but it is what it is. I don't know if I'll do it again, but it was okay. Anyway, yay! Cheers. Oh my God. I'm going to have somebody come over and cuddle with me. I haven't had that in so long. It's going to be exciting. I don't even remember how to cuddle. I think you curl up next to each other and fall asleep. Who knows? Anyway, yeah, so this hot Italian boy is coming over. And we're gonna hopefully fall asleep pretty fast, because I gotta get up pretty early in the morning to go to the final lotto drawing for the Natural Born Breeders video that they're filming, and then immediately go to find out who is International Mr. Leather Pig.
So I just came to realize that I left a lot of information out from my experience at Pig Week. So I'm doing this addendum because I want to at least fill in some of the blanks, because all of the stress and Sturm und Drang that I was making about it beforehand, and then not bringing up anything about it once I was there, other than like cuddling with somebody and a drunk guy. So I'm going to fill you in. I'm going to try to do it fast, because otherwise I'm just going to ramble. So I wrote some topics down. Was I enough of a pig? I would say in 10 days I was fucked maybe 200 times. Maybe. And I learned that I'm a sling queen. Like, I don't want to get out of it once I'm in one, because I'm sure somebody else will get out of a sling that somebody can use. But I'm perfectly content right where I am, and I don't want to share. So, yeah, I'm a bit of a sling queen, and I'm kind of a pig. On top of that, I almost apparently won the Mr. Pig International. Some of the guys that ran the event told me that I should be at the specific party at the end of the week, and I was like, okay. They said, we're pretty sure you're going to win. I'm like, really? Okay. I didn't think I was that much of a pig, but apparently when you're at every event and you're the first person there and you're usually the last person to leave, it's a pretty good sign you're a pig. If you're fucking in a parking lot of a strip mall in front of people who up against a car, yeah, you're kind of a pig. Alex, I am just going to say all of you can find out about me and Alex is on my Just for Fans page. That is all I'm going to say about it. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it. He was a very, very cool guy. I enjoyed his time. There was a party called Psycho Circus, and it took place in this event space in Milton Manors. I was the first person there, but I don't like being late, so I got there. I just happened to be the first person. Oops. Anyway, we get there, and I'm not exactly sure what to expect, because I don't know what's going to happen. And we check in our clothes, and I'm just wearing like a jock and a harness like everyone else. And eventually somebody mentions to me, have you gone and checked over in the alcove? And I said no. And sure enough, I looked in the alcove, and past the front area where they have a single bar and a woman working it along with a couple guys, and I hope somebody told her what to expect, because if she wasn't warned, she is scarred for life. Anyway, I walked and saw in the alcove a bunch of guys going at it. I'm like, oh, of course it starts in the alcove. So, of course, I went into the alcove. I don't know how long I was in there, but I was pressed up like this against the wall for a good 20 minutes, maybe 25. I couldn't see anything other than, whatever was right in front of me. Anyway, eventually the person lets go, and I turn around, and the dance floor is a writhing sea of men fucking. That's it. There was not a single person dancing. There was a small stage Actually, no, it was a pretty decent sized stage. It was just 2 feet off the floor. You couldn't see much of anything. And there were acrobats and fire breathers and jugglers and tumblers. And I'm like, no one's paying any attention to you. Not one single iota. I also have been told that we trashed the place because from about 6 feet down, all of the wallpaper was coated in silicone lube handprints, which I gather destroyed the wallpaper. And all I can say is I feel really, really bad for the cleaning crew. I no. You'd have to be a very special kind of pig to get into cleaning up all of that. It was, I am sure, a total biohazard. Totally. Anyway, that was the night they did the first drawing for the contest for bottoming out for 5 porn models. And I was talking to a couple guys briefly, and one of them was the one they named, and he just looked at both of us and he's like, I can't take any more dick. I've had too much. So he kind of looks at my other friend that we're chatting with. He's like, you go be me. So my friend goes off and ends up being him. No one's paying any attention to this poor guy. He's like strapped down on a fuck bench and the porn models are going at it. I didn't see who they were. I think Ray Dalton was one of them. I think Boomer Banks was one of them. I think Dolph Dietrich was one of them. I'm not sure. So, poor guy. No one paid any attention. But he got fucked by 5 porn stars, so yay that. That was Psycho Circus. I don't know how many men fucked me. I have no idea. I have no idea how much cum was in me by the time I left. It was crazy. Ramrod. So I'm at the Ramrod, and it's a bar. It's a well-known bar in Wilton Manors. It's a leatherish kind of bar, and I remember walking out to the back patio, and I was looking around. I was like, why does this look familiar? I've never been in here before. And I'm just looking, and everything I've seen this place. I've been in here. And I mentioned it to one of the guys that's there. He's like, this is where they film a lot of porn. And it dawns on me all of a sudden, oh my God, this is backdrop. I've seen this backdrop hundreds of times. So that was kind of amusing. At one point, I was chatting with this kid he and I had been interested in fucking around. And we're leaning up against a pool table, and we start making out. And next thing I know, I guess we started an orgy. It just took like we were the kindling, and then it just went up the minute we got caught on fire. And it was a just writhing mass of men. There was one point where I was leaning up against the pool table with my ass out, and this random, I couldn't see anybody, but some guy was just kind of like doing this with his penis, just like this across my ass. I'm like, oh, okay, this is going to be fun. Cool. And he just keeps on doing this, and I'm like, okay, so I'm ready, and he kind of dips it into my crack, and it's still just kind of going back and forth like a windshield wiper. I am so over it. I just turn around and look at him. I'm like, dude, either fuck me or go away. And the guy was probably in his mid-70s, at least. And I felt kind of bad because, I don't talk like that normally to people, but in this situation, he was kind of taking up my time because there were a bunch of other people that may have wanted to have sex with me, and instead I was getting this man just rubbing his penis on my ass. It was not fun. I was annoyed. But that was also where I learned you can use a pool table for a lot of things other than playing pool. Who knew, actually? I used to go to the Rawhide in New Orleans, so I'm very aware of what happens on pool tables. The second drawing they did for the guy that was going to get fucked by the 5 porn models, that took place at a resort called the In Leather, which I had mentioned earlier. For those of you who don't know what it is, this is what the advertisement for it looks like. I want to be him, or I want to marry him, or I just want to spend 20 minutes with them. That is what I want to look like. But I like chocolate too much, so it's never going to happen. For as hot and famous as the men were that were fucking the first guy around, this one was going to be filmed, and I saw the guys that were going to be doing the fucking, and all I could think was, I'm sure they're lovely people. They were so not my type. Not at all my type. I would have had fun had I been named as the winner, but I didn't want to sit around and watch it because that would just looked. Yeah, I just didn't bother. So I decided to take a little siesta, and I found a sling and hopped in it, of course, because I want to lay down while I'm taking my little siesta, and I wanted to be away from the filming because I didn't want to hear it or see it. So I'm laying down. I decide I'm just going to blindfold myself, just kind of rest and relax my eyes and not burn them because it's really bright and sunny out. And I end up getting fucked by a whole bunch of men. Some guy kept on coming back. We almost knocked the sling over. We were turning it into like a jungle gym. I was using parts of that sling that I never thought I would use before, ever. And at one point, while it's going on, somebody walks by and I hear him say, "Damn, I wish we had used him." I have to admit, gave me a little glee because the porn models saw my ability to do what I do and were bummed out that they weren't part of it. Anyway, so let's see. I ended up hanging out with a group of circuit boys, which I did not expect to have happen. I went to this course on how to inject Trimex because I suck at it. I can't do it. Every time I try, I fail. So anyway, I went to this class, and the doctor there was injecting people and giving them the opportunity to just kind of like see what it feels like and whether or not it's going to work. And these like 5 guys come walking in, and they're very pretty. They're young. I try to interact with them, but they just kind of look at me. One in particular looks at me like I'm some kind of black hole dead zone, and just has nothing to do with the fact that I'm standing right next to him trying to have a conversation or at least introduce myself or something. So I'm like, great, now I feel super insecure because I'm standing here naked and these guys are being totally judgmental assholes. So awesome. after I get injected, I end up going back to the party and hop in a sling again. And I end up getting fucked by these two guys that are married and a bunch of other people, but two specific guys, those two. And eventually I'm like, I'm just going to go outside and have a cigarette and chill and figure out what I'm going to do next, because I don't know if I'm still wanting to stick around, whatever. And I noticed the two guys that had fucked me standing with a couple other guys that looked familiar, and they motioned for me to come over, and I really don't like interrupting people when they're having a conversation, so I was just like, kind of making it like, I don't want to interrupt. So one of them comes over and grabs me and says, come on over, I want you to meet my friends. I'm like, okay. So I go over and I realize those two guys were part of the group that came to the Trimex class. And I was already, it immediately made me very wary because I didn't know what to expect from them. And it turns out we're talking, and I'm like, well, the one that was in particularly kind of shitty to me wasn't there, so that was nice. Until he was, and then he was standing right next to me, and he introduced himself to me, and he looks at me and he's like, you're at the Trimex class. I'm like, yeah, I was the one standing right next to you. He goes, I am so sorry. I'm like, why are you apologizing? And he said, I responded to something you said really snottily, like just kind of nasty. I don't know why. And I realized as soon as I did that, I was like, well, I guess I just ruined that opportunity to meet somebody. And I was really surprised that he apologized for that, because it means that he was at least a little aware of his actions, and that his actions that came across were not actually the actions he was trying to do. So we're hanging out, and he keeps on telling people and his friends, isn't this guy hot? Isn't Michael hot? Blah, blah, blah. Which is making me feel really uncomfortable because, A, you're talking about me right next to me, which means I can hear this whole conversation, and it just feels very weird being third person. So it gets to the point where I start thinking to myself, okay, he's overdoing it. He thinks the lady doth protest too much. So I was like, okay, I get it. But then it's getting close to the end of the night, and the boys are all standing around. They're like, well, we're going to go to one of the bathhouses. You should come with. And I'm like, He's like, no, you should come along. It'll be fun. And finally, like, okay, well, sure. And I'm thinking to myself, I'll get my own room because I'm sure they're going to go off and do their own thing, and I'm just going to be kind of stuck there alone. So, yeah, I'm just going to go get my own room. We end up getting there. Me and the one guy in particular that was like talking about me had texted me in the Uber on the way there with a text that said, I think you're really super hot. And I'm like, okay, so are you! Exclamation, smiley, winky, drooly tongue emojis. When we got to the bathhouse, we got my room, and he just basically followed me into the room. And then we just started making out and fucking and talking. It was great. And eventually he was like, well, come on over to my room, bring your stuff with you, and just stay with us. I'm like, I don't know about that. I'm like, no, it'll be fine, come on over. So I do. And somehow he convinces me to try K for the first time, which was underwhelming. Whenever I take a drug for the first time that I don't know what is going to happen, I get into my head and I start analyzing everything, and I start getting panicky because I don't know what I'm supposed to be feeling. So it turned the entire experience of taking a bump of K into something very not exciting. And that's when I realized those 8 boys were basically just fucking each other the whole night at the bathhouse. They'd bring someone in occasionally, and he'd join in for a while, and then someone else would come in and he'd join in for a while, but it was always the same group, which I suddenly somehow fell into. And I'm looking at it, and I'm noticing they're taking G, K, cocaine, and ecstasy. And I think acid. I can't remember. But I'm looking at them going, how on earth are you standing, let alone functioning? But, they were doing their thing, and then it clicked. And I knew why they looked familiar to me. They are circuit boys. And the last time I hung out with circuit boys was back in Florida. And it was the exact same kind of mentality, and the same kind of attitude, and same kind of drug usage. So once I figured out that was the situation, I rolled with it for a little while, but eventually I was like, I need to go, I'm tired, so I'm going to head home. So that happened, and other than that, it was really lovely. I found a grilled cheese sandwich place next to the Eagle. It was from New York, and it comes with a cup of tomato soup and an amazing grilled cheese sandwich, and I devoured it after 8 days of eating nothing but protein bars, and sure, I was about to eat off my own arm if necessary. So yeah, those sandwiches were amazing. Anyway, so that is my addendum, and that's really all I got to add to it. I think I summed it up pretty well, I think. Or not, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'll talk about something else about it later on, but for now, I think that's pretty much all of it. Have a good rest of your day, and now I'm going to sign out. Bye.